Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th episode of The People's Road.
It's number 10. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We should have got balloons. 10. Woo.
Great. We've made it this far. This is the final episode. No, I'm joking.
Oh, my gosh.
Welcome to The People's Rose. I'm Brooke. Wow.
Wow, we are just one. We got married and we became one.
Exactly. I'm Jarrett.
And I'm Brooke.
And we are a married couple, and this is a podcast about reality TV. We like to talk about reality TV. We like to watch reality TV. We had podcast equipment, so we said, let's make a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about all the reality TV shows that we watch, from Bachelor to The Circle to Claim to Fame to Brooke's Bravo, basically Reality Corner, TLC shows. And we post weekly, but this week and basically for this month, we are also posting special separate episodes for one of our favorite reality TV shows, Big Brother.
It's time for Big Brother.
Yes. And it is time for Big Brother. It's always time for Big Brother. It's a 24-hour TV show that has live feeds, but also is broadcast 3 nights a week, where house guests gather together in one house and compete to win $750,000.
We have the feeds on now, but it is 7 a.m. in LA, so they're all asleep.
Right, and which is the perfect time for us to recap this crazy, hectic week in the Big Brother house. But before we get to our recap, let's level set. We did it last time. We'll do it again this time. In a segment I'm just calling our alliance. Let's talk about our alliance and what that entails. Brooke, who is your favorite house guest, the house guest you're rooting for, the house guest you're rooting against so far, and the house guest you think is playing the best game so far?
Okay, well, after this week, I am definitely rooting against Hisam because this guy is on the power trip of all power trips.
Oh, gosh, we're going
to... I can't deal with him. If I was in the house, I would be pulling an Izzy in the back room crying about how I can't stand him.
Izzy is it's an expression online, if you don't know, cracked. It's like... her little clip of her talking about Cameron saying, I hate that I can't hate him. And
right?
Then breaking. I was just like, okay, now this is good TV.
But I get it, Izzy. I get it. It's like people are just getting under your skin so much and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally trapped in a house with them.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trapped with them, but
right. Yeah. That's the premise.
He just is acting like he knows everything. He's acting like he is the best of the best.
Right.
He even had, we don't have to get into it now. We'll get into it later.
Right.
But that's who I am rooting against. I am rooting for Siri.
Mm-hmm.
Siri. And, what's the other one?
Who do you think's playing the best game so far?
Who do I think is playing? I honestly think Siri is playing the best game. And I don't know if it's because she's getting a lot of screen time, so we're seeing her gameplay. But I feel like she's doing a good job of balancing both sides of the house, but also still being loyal to her bye-bye girls and the professors.
You're right. She definitely is actively playing the game, that's for sure. Okay, so that's your alliance for this week. You can come up with an alliance name as well for our alliances. Okay, my alliance. The house guest that I'm rooting for. She hasn't shown me much, and this is more of just a regional loyalty, but right now it's gonna continue to be America.
Yeah.
She's from Texas. She's from the Valley area of Texas, down by the border, La Frontera, and she's she's a Big Brother super fan, so I'm just like, come on. But it's good, maybe, that we haven't seen.
I think you just like her because she's pretty.
Okay, yeah. We can wait until okay. There's tons of times that you've said that, but she's not even my type, and I think you know that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but anyways, so I'm rooting for her for those reasons and those reasons only,
Got
Brooke.
it.
And then also let's see, the house guest I'm rooting against, again, I would say Hisam. He's one of those people that is so full of themselves and assured of themselves and self-important that it's kind of hard not to enjoy them not getting their way. Does that make sense? And so it's like he's at the point where I just don't want to see him get his way. And so, yes, I'm actively rooting against him. And finally, who do I think is playing the best game? I have to give it a tie right now to Nicole and Corey. They're both active in conversations. They're not like Bowie Jane. This is just a vacation for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's like
she just got some time off and she's enjoying her time in Burbank.
She's trying to make her name known as a DJ.
I don't even know that because she's not even trying to be famous. She's just kind of chilling in the house. She's not. But anyways, Nicole and Corey are active in conversations, but not so much that they're viewed as a threat or people feel like they need to have them in the know and have them on their side, but they're not targeting them. And they're not on too many people's radars. Yeah,
I forgot about Nicole, but I agree. I think she's definitely one to watch. I could see her, like, going, like, kind of sliding by and then, like, going full force. And that I'm excited about.
Right. Okay, so we got that out the way. That was just a kind of an overview / recap of all the people in the house we like and where we stand with them. But let's get into this week. Like we said, we've known this since Sunday. Hisam won the HOH. He immediately kind of went into power trip mode, saying, "I'm not going to hide, my intentions. I'm just going to tell you that I'm targeting you, and I'm going to target you." Which is, at one point, it's like, okay, yes,
sure.
But the way he went about it was very kind of
it's like the way he talks is just very condescending,
right?
And also it just comes off as rude,
right?
So, well, go ahead.
Yeah, so his targets were Riley because his name had come up to her as a target before, and he got around to him. And Cameron, who just happened to be on her side of the house, not just happened, they actually had a close relationship. We saw in the feeds. Cameron was kind of very weird about Riley. Said he saw her as a daughter, but also was kind of like low key. I don't know.
Dude, Cameron is weird.
He's got some stuff to work out.
He also confessed to Jared that he thought that Felicia was a relative of Denzel Washington. And he was like so certain. He's like, dude, I think there's a twist and I think I cracked it. I think that they are related. And Corey was just like, oh, yeah. Just kind of like whatever you think, so you aren't cracking the code that I am the twist.
Right. Yeah, so
Jared. Did I say Corey?
I think you switched in between both of them.
I'm sorry, Jared.
So yeah, those were his targets. They're on the block. Veto comes on Wednesday, and everything's still up in the air on who could go home because the veto competition hadn't been played. Riley had her whole alliance basically in the veto competition except Hisam, and that included
Hisam was like tripping, like freaking out, like, oh great.
And that included Matt, Blue, and
America, right?
Yeah, in America. And they're all in that it's not the handful. It's the table style alliance. Their family style.
Family style?
Yeah, that's what the name of the 8-person alliance is. Oh. So anyways, that the handful is inside of.
Got it.
So anyways, so they're going into this competition, and it's kind of like a listening puzzle competition, which is interesting because this is the season of the first deaf contestant or hearing impaired contestant on Big Brother. Well, I'm sure they've had hearing impaired. The first deaf is what it's described as contestant, and to have a listening comp.
Right.
So she has all of her people on her side, and of course, what happens? Hisam still ended up winning, which is just, of course, like that's exactly what his ego needed, was more validation. But on the hearing aspect of it, and competitions like these that are timed where each house guest separately does something, and then they reveal the times at the end, typically what happens is the house guests all sit and they see all their times listed, and there's drama to see who's got the best time.
Right.
They didn't do that this time. They only showed the top 3, and I can't remember if it's the very first time they did this or if it's happened before, but there's been some speculation online that they did that to kind of cover their tracks on possibly how bad of a time Matt might have had.
Oh my god!
Because it would not have looked good to have a hearing comp, or it's a comp that's based on hearing a scrambled sentence that they have to decipher to then do an action.
Yeah.
And your one deaf or hearing impaired contestant, he has hearing aids, just for those who don't watch.
Yeah.
Is unable to compete, right? And that's fair. That is fair because he signed up for the show. He knew that stuff like that might happen. But a lot of people online are not satisfied with the producer's accommodations for this contestant. And I go back and forth on it. I'm like, well, we want it to be fair for everyone. They've had shorter people on the house. They had a person who was a little person on the house, and they didn't give them stilts for competition.
Right.
That said, though, when it's competitions where they all have to hang on to something, they do adjust for height, so it's all equal height.
Yeah, that's true.
Does that make sense? Or if someone weighs more, if they have to balance out, they do balance out weight in that respect sometimes. So a lot of people feel that they should be making more accommodations for Matt to understand the rules, to hear comps like this.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brooke?
No, I completely agree. I think they should be making adjustments for him, or at the very I mean, I don't know. I think we need to hear from Matt on it, you know?
Right.
Because I don't want to speak for him, because sometimes people with disabilities are like, just treat me like everybody else. Right. And I don't know his full story, so I don't know, like, if he knows sign language or not. And if he does know sign language, then he doesn't. He doesn't?
No.
Okay. So then it's kind of like, I guess they would just have to make adjustments when it comes to, like,
how they could have captions or maybe cue cards for when they talk.
I was about to say how they're presenting.
Because last eviction, when Julie was like, okay, thank you, Matt, you could tell he didn't hear and just sat in the diary room, and it was clear he had a trouble hearing her. So
I'm wondering if maybe the producers will start to recognize and hopefully talk to him about it, but I don't know.
Maybe they have. For all we know, they have, just like you said. And he said, just treat me like everyone else. Don't do anything special. And if that's the case, we won't know until you're right. Now, Matt did say, if you've watched the show, you do know Riley Goes Home, that he was sad to see her go home because she was one of the few contestants that every night would sit down and recap conversations that he might not have heard every word of, tell him the things that are going on that he might have been able to hear, because sometimes he said on the feeds when there's a lot of people in the room, it's unintelligible. It's just a bunch of kind of staticky noise.
Yeah,
and you can tell he can tell people are talking but can't understand them.
And I think he does rely a lot. He relies very heavily on reading lips, which I don't even know if he could see Julie's lips.
Yeah, we're not really sure what they can see.
So it's a tough one.
Very tough.
I think. Oh, but should we talk about Showman's Report real quick? Because
yeah, we can cut into that.
No, I'm just saying because Matt confessed his love.
Well, it's not
Riley.
his love.
Okay.
Let's not go that far.
So we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll talk later. And so back to the house. I mean, yeah, so Hisam wins. And immediately, well, not immediately, at the veto ceremony speech where they decide if the veto is going to be used, he gets up there and kind of just is like, hey, everyone, just a reminder, I hate Riley. Not I hate Riley, but she's my target. Let's send her home. Let's not make this a big deal. We'll just all send her home right now.
But you are sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
The way that he presented it was just like, what is wrong with this dude? He got up there and it was harsh, and it was like unnecessarily harsh. Like, it's week 2, dude.
Right.
If you're already coming in this hot in week 2, I can't even imagine what you're going to be like on week 6.
Right. So
he was like, I've made it known that my target is Riley, and I hope that the house will respect that and vote with me. Like, sir, no.
Yeah, this is like, it's called HOH-itis. It's like you heard of a bridezilla. Someone becomes a bride and they it gets to their head. HOH-itis is when you become the head of household in Big Brother, and it just gets to your head. You think you have all the power in the world.
Right.
If you look
when you win veto on top of that, you do have all the power.
No, but still you don't. Because think about it. When it comes to Big Brother, the power that the HOH has ends after the veto ceremony.
True.
Because if a veto is used, regardless of who uses it, the HOH gets to decide who goes up. This happens on golden power vetoes.
True.
He gets to decide who goes up, or he or she. So, but after that, it's up to the House to decide what goes on.
True.
It really it doesn't matter what, and it really doesn't matter because next week they don't get to play HOH, so you don't even have to fear of retaliation next week.
That's
so
true.
when people say, "I just want to do it with the HOH after the veto ceremony," I'll be like, "So what? That part of the week is over. We get to decide what's best for our game individually now." But recent seasons we've seen everyone just go unanimously to cover votes and stuff.
So annoying. Which is exactly what ultimately ended up happening. And, well, we had a little glimmer of hope because after the veto speech, everyone was like, oh no, like this guy has got to go.
Well, it was more than a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
It was way more than that.
Yeah.
So this week was kind of crazy. In the sense that after that, like Brooke said, everyone in the house was like, whoa, bro.
Right.
And the people working with Hisam on his side, which is loosely Cerie, Izzy, Felicia, Mimi, Bowie Jane, Red, were all, well, not Bowie Jane and Red. They actually, I don't know if they know they're on Big Brother, but the rest of them were like, this guy is kind of horrible.
Yeah.
Because he also had a post-veto meeting.
Yes.
With his group.
The professors had a meetup. And the HOH-itis just hit an ultimate high. Because he started telling them, he was telling them what to do. Right, this is how he would go. I'll be Hisam.
Okay. Okay, so Brooke, what do you think we should do next for our podcast?
That's
okay. Yeah. But what we should do is give me more talking time. And Brooke, what do you think we should do about JB's clothes? Should we get him red pants or blue pants?
Yeah, let's go with the blue pants.
Okay, yeah, we could, but we're going to do red pants. He was just like exactly like that. Am I wrong?
Exactly like that. And they were all just they all held their tongue in the moment, and they all just kind of like were looking at each other like, what? He was telling them, do not make other alliances, which is so crazy to really think that you have the authority to tell someone to not make another alliance.
If you're playing Big Brother, you should just assume there are side alliances.
Yeah.
But you're right. For week 2 to get in a room and say, don't make another alliance.
Right.
First of all, it's just like, okay, now there's a target on your back. And then to immediately go and start making side alliances after saying that. Right. And it gets back around to those people. And okay, there's just so much. We saw this on the episode for those that watch, but it was crazy because he was saying, don't make side alliances. Then he made a side alliance. And not only did he do that, he told America, hey, those people that I'm working with, I actually don't even think they are cool. They're kind of lame. I don't like working with them. I ended up on that side of the house, and it's kind of Riley's fault because I wanted to be with the cool kids like you guys, not the losers like the professors.
He literally, like almost verbatim said that. Right. Like, he was so happy that he got Riley out because now she's literally out of the way and he can get on that side, which is so crazy because it's like, you think those people are going to want to work with you after you took out their alliance member? I would like to coin a new phrase. He's Catty Herring, you know what I mean? Riley was Regina George, but not even mean way. Right. She was the head of the snake, and he cuts that off not to kill the snake, just so he can replace and be like, okay, now I'm in charge. Which is kind of accurate because they did all end up voting the way he wanted them to vote, but it's going to all come crashing down. Right. It's going to all come crashing down.
I mean, we could recap all day. Long story short, we see that it got back to Cerie, and they were already having these discussions. Just side note. Yeah. Izzy and Cerie and Felicia are the queens of that side-eye face where the door closes and they walk in and they're like, now what was he talking about?
They make us cackle. Their segments make us die
and on the feeds,
laughing.
yeah.
They are so funny.
I'd say just about every morning I wake up to a new Izzy face of her just being either just screaming at the top of her lungs, being like, I want to kill him.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Or
it's like she's dramatic. She's just as dramatic as
Just as
Hisam,
dramatic.
but in a different way.
and it just kind of crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not diminishing her. Like just a toddler running around screaming at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
It's letting you know every emotion they feel.
And kind of like she wouldn't take it out on the person.
Well, no, I disagree with that.
Oh, because if she was
every other week she's like, I am going to get him out. I am done with him.
Okay, so maybe behind their back.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get up there and do a speech like Hisam on the veto ceremony.
She wouldn't now that Hisam's done it, but you pointed it out when we were watching it. When she was talking to Riley, she was like, okay, let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah,
let's
you're right.
stop it with the pleasantries.
You're right.
Which was fun. I don't know. Maybe she just does it in a more affable way.
But because then they did have like a conversation later where she was like, hey, I'm sorry I kind of came at you so hard.
Right.
So, and Hisam would never have a conversation like that.
Yeah. So, long story short, it took us a while to get here. But Sari and Izzy, and to some small parts Felicia, but Sari and Izzy were the engine behind the force to flip the vote and make it a unanimous vote for Riley to stay and completely blindside Hisam. And this was going and flipping so much that if you left the feeds to go live your life and I don't know, like be a normal human being for just an hour, you would come back to a completely different house.
Yeah.
Right. And so that would happen. I would go to work, and I'd come back, and Sari and Izzy, I believe on Tuesday, had made sure, person to person, almost everybody in the house was going to vote for Riley. Yeah. Truly. It was because Riley had her alliance who was willing to vote to keep her, and vote Cameron out. And Sari and Izzy, more so than they showed on the show, really had locked it up and were like already planning on how they were going to break it to Hisam. But at the very last moment, just, I guess, McCole was kind of against it, but would have gone with it. I guess just decided that ultimately it was still better for their game to keep kind of Hisam in the dark and not show them so quickly how much they were going against them.
Yeah, Sari was kind of like, we either do what he says and then get him out like backdoor quietly, or we just kind of like go to war now.
Right.
And I do think it probably was the better choice to just kind of get him out quietly, because if you remember, he was like, I want to take a step back from winning, you guys.
Oh
and they
my
were
gosh.
all kind of like, okay. So now they're kind of like, okay, take a step back and we'll just kind of get you out.
Right. This game is, especially this season, it's a 100-day marathon. It's not a quick sprint. Yeah. And although it would have been great TV and great feeds to have,
we'll get it.
We're going to get there.
We're going to get there.
It's better for Sari and Izzy's games probably ultimately if they start looking for backdoor opportunities. Right. And just a spoiler, which we'll get to later, we're going to have great feeds anyway this week because of our new HOH, which we'll talk about. Okay, so before we get to this current week that's happening right now, in the Big Brother house, let's go over, before we get to the live eviction episode that happened Thursday night, let's just run through some things that might have happened on the feeds, or just maybe, like I said, that didn't happen on the show, but just to keep everyone up to date on the dynamics of the house. I would say, like we said, Nicole did not want to flip. They showed that on the show. But we knew a lot about Nicole's thinking about it because she talks to the live feeders a lot.
Which I honestly think is such a great strategy. Because instead of like bearing it all to someone in the house who might not be safe, you're getting it all out. So keep talking to us. We like it.
Exactly. And as live feeders, it just makes it worth it. We don't pay anything.
She's funny too.
Right. She's funny.
Very funny.
She gets the show. She understands it. It's not just like, go to my Instagram. It's not that. It's just like, you get to hear her inner monologue, right?
But I did watch a whole segment of the live feeds where they gave them a camera and Mimi went around to everybody and was like, okay, tell us what your favorite snack in the VB house is. Mm. And it was so interesting to watch them be like their normal self, and then as soon as she brought the camera out, being like them like turning it up.
Right. We did. And what's the biggest what's the biggest example of someone who turns it up?
Red.
Red.
100%.
It's like on the show, if you just watch the show, you think that Red talks like this all the time and I'm just a guy from the Appalachian Mountains. And you're like, and then the cameras turn off. They're like, all right, that's it for the episode. And he's like, hey guys, so what are we doing the rest? You know what I mean?
Right.
He still has his accent, but he definitely turns it up.
Right.
So another thing about Nicole is they didn't show this on the show, and they probably will if it becomes relevant. But she did make a little side, I don't know if I'd call it an alliance, but kind of a coalition with America. America's kind of on that Matt Riley side of the house. Or Riley's gone now. And then, of course, Nicole is with the professors. But they acknowledge that they're on different sides of the house, but they aren't each other's targets, and they can share information that can help benefit each other.
That's smart.
So it could have been just one of those side conversations you feel like people have that's not real. But since I'm rooting for both, I'm hoping that they do work together. Yeah. Other things we saw is Corey. Like I picked him as one of the better positions.
Yeah.
He's rising up.
He is.
You can see he really wants to work with other game players. Mm-hmm. He really likes to lean and he's giving information to Sheree and Felicia, even though they're not on the same side of the house. But I think he's trying to start.
Yeah, he was the one that went and told them about Hisam starting the deal with America.
Right. So I think if I saw correctly, I didn't see this person on the feeds, but I think he floated the idea of an alliance with him, Sheree, Jared, and Felicia called the Crossroads. I'd like to get more information on that.
Which, how perfect for Sheree and Jared.
Oh, great. That's perfect.
He doesn't know, seemingly, that they're related, yet he wants to work with them. That's perfect.
This is a part of Big Brother. Not all strategy has to work this way, but it's definitely a winning formula. If you are a charismatic person that has a group of sycophants that will kind of do your bidding, but you do it in an amicable way that's not domineering and stressful like Hisam is trying to do, you can go far. Right. We just rewatched season 6. An episode from season 6 will tell you why. And season 6 was, spoiler alert, Maggie's season that she won. And Maggie ran her alliance called the Friendship like it was the Navy, right? Yeah. She was on them. She convinced them. If you've seen this season, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She was Paul before Paul.
Oh my god!
And they were a unified group. And they kind of didn't realize it, but were doing what she needed to do to win, right? Mm-hmm. So Sheree, Corey loves Survivor. He loves her on Survivor. Mm-hmm. He can't help but want to work with her. Izzy liked her on Survivor, knew that Jared was her son, but has yet to leverage that in any real way because she just I like working with Sheree. Right. Felicia's an older woman who is kind of in a similar place to Sheree. Right. And so little by little, and Jared, of course, is her son. Mm-hmm. She's got a wall around her of people who all genuinely like her and want to see her do well and themselves do well. And that can help you go far.
For sure.
Now, people will be like, well, that's not fair. She was already a celebrity. People already... Well, I mean, that's the game sometimes.
Yeah, come on.
Any other live feed stuff that they didn't talk about on the show? I mean, there's tons, but anything we wanted to address? Oh, Felicia also loves to talk about... to production, not as so much she's not talking to the live feeders, but it's always fun because she wakes up early in the house guests. So around the time, around 11, which is early for the house guests, 11 Central Time. We're in Central Time, but it's 9 over there. Yeah, she's up there telling the production okay, we need these spices, we need these seasonings. We need, and I don't know the exact ones, but she'll be like, we need Lowry's, not Tony's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just so funny. She's really grown on me.
Yeah, what we need to talk about is this stupid nether region.
Oh my gosh.
This twist is so lame.
What a flop.
It's it's kind of cool because, partially because they get safety. They're not there for the veto meeting or whatever, or veto playing. But, give us some nether region content. Back in the day, they would have 24-hour isolation.
Right,
and
or something.
And we would see clips of them in the isolation room.
Right.
Show us something.
Right, and let's, before we get to that, it's called the nether region. Do you know what the nether regions are?
Yes.
Right, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Right.
So I thought, is it a play on words? But no, it's just... They go away. We don't know where. We don't know if there's some twist down the line. We don't know if they're seeing. There's just what's the point of this?
Stupid. And then Well, and I was gonna say, what the thing that would make it okay is if at one point somebody new comes out of the nether region.
Exactly, which could still happen.
Right. That would be kind of cool. But, like, it's pointless.
Right. So, it's, I mean, if you're a Big Brother fan, you know half of the twists are flops.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is definitely, at the moment, a flop. It's just like, when it happens, you're like, okay, but...
And it's like, but usually when there is a twist like that, they let America in on it, and
Right.
they're not letting us in on it, so that's annoying.
And you're right, it feels like there's something they're not telling us, but if this is all that they have to tell us, then this is just officially lame.
Right.
So yeah, that's basically it. I guess since we're talking about stuff they didn't show on the feeds, really, let's now would be a good time for your showmance watch. I think.
Yes. Because they haven't really showed that on the episodes yet, but so showman's watch, we have Matt right before Riley was gonna get evicted. He was like, I just feel like I need to let you know that I really like you and I have a crush on you.
Right.
And Riley kind of friend zoned him. She was like, "Oh, that's so sweet."
Which is good though. I'm in the sense
she has
that
a boyfriend, yeah.
well, whether she's boyfriend or not, I like that their relationship was more than just, oh, we're flirting.
But is it because he probably thought it was one thing that it wasn't?
But I don't think he was hurt. He didn't seem hurt at the fact that she didn't.
You didn't see the clip of him crying in the storage room?
Well, I think that was but that was because his friend left. He said he appreciated her.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know. It didn't seem like they were engaged or anything. I'm just saying.
Well, of course not.
We saw
Come on, Jared. I'm trying to play up the drama here.
Well, I'll let the producers do that.
Okay.
See, what I think, and I saw some people talking about this. I didn't want to, it's called, I saw some discourse about this online. And they were saying, like, okay, sometimes women come on the show, they get in showmances with guys who are comp beasts and kind of low key take them to the end, is what people think. And then they somehow end up winning the show. And everyone's like, oh, she was a showman. She just rode the coattails of her showmance. Sure. I hate when girls get in showmances. I wish they would just come to play the game. This isn't The Bachelor. Right? And so then Riley comes to play the game. And from best we can tell, was not looking to get into showmances.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Matt that Riley wouldn't showmance her. And so and I know it's not the exact same people saying both these things, but it does kind of present the kind of lose-lose scenario sometimes for these people coming on to the show, because so many people want so much from the show.
I see what you're saying. I don't really feel bad for him. I just am kind of like, Riley, why did you even entertain?
But I don't think she did.
Okay. Fair.
I will say yes. Some people get touchy-feely in that house, but if you look at those people in that house, it was more than just Matt and Riley being touchy-feely. And I say it's nothing overt. It's just, like sitting on the couch, hands on the thigh and stuff like that.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be you.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay. Next one, we have Jared and Blue, which
we talked about them being
turned a little problematic this week. Okay. They are continuing to do their little flirtmance thing. But Jared had some unsavory things to say to her. I mean, what would you even say? Slut shaming?
I don't know. I don't know if that word applies. I'm not really sure what that phrase applies to. What I will say is he was just kind of asking her if or how many people she'd slept with, right? In an inquisitive way, not just kind of like, oh, I want to know this information. He was very persistent.
Yeah.
And you could tell he equates that to, I don't know what he equates that to, but typically, people equate that kind of stuff to.
Obviously he was like, I don't want to be with somebody who has a really high body count. And it's like, Jared, that's like very judgmental.
Yeah. It's okay. It's definitely hypocritical. So that's definitely something I think people on both sides. Well, I don't really know. When I see this kind of discussion online, I definitely check out and like,
Yeah.
because it's just not even fun to talk about. It was
Right.
never fun to talk about.
Right.
But you see this conversation over and over again, and you're just like, okay,
and
really?
Blue was just like, I'm not answering that.
Right.
She was like, whether it's 100 or 1, I'm not answering that because I don't owe that to you.
Right. One,
right?
it's her business, and then obviously on the flip side, if someone were to ask him, him, would he equally be like, ugh? Well, unfortunately, it's like, would he say, ugh, unfortunately, it's 100 people I slept with, and I'm very sad about it, or would he go like, it's 100?
Right. Well, he did double down, and he was like, well, you wouldn't want to be with me either if I had like 100 people and was like sleeping around, would you? And it's kind of just like, dude, Jared, maybe she does. Maybe she would be fine with it. Like, I don't know.
It's just kind of childish, I think, and they're definitely not at the stage where it's just
relevant.
Right. That's the point. Like when you're talking about this stuff at this point, it kind of shows more about how you view the world than your perspective, willingness to be with them as a partner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but then didn't Jared also say something about like his dad being a womanizer?
I saw that. I didn't want to say that because I didn't see that myself on the feeds, and that's talking about someone who's not on the show.
Right.
But I saw on the feeds that he did say him and his brothers are trying to be better about how they act. But that's, again, I saw that from a live feed updater. I could go make a fake Twitter account and just post online and said, Jared said that he was a Zodiac killer. You know what I mean? And
someone could, for all we know, someone could have been doing it to try to like save his image.
Right. So I try to like, I try to like have seen it personally either on a clip or when watching the feeds myself.
Well, we need Mama Siri to come in and set him straight.
People say that. People have been saying that online, but also like, your parents are always going to have your back. No. They are always going to have their back. They may correct you and stuff, but if it comes down to it, they're going to put their child's best face forward on national television. Well, people want her to come in and pile on, but I don't think that's your responsibility as a parent. The world's going to do that. If anything, she's going to be like, I'll handle this. Please stop talking about my son. That's just what parents do. And I think
not necessarily. But
I personally feel as a parent on national TV,
would do that.
You shouldn't leave your children out to dry as see, this is what you get. Now you can say like, okay, you have to face the consequences of the words you said, Jared.
Yeah.
But if someone says like, Sari, you get them now. I'm like, no, y'all are doing that enough. I'm going to show the love and grace to my son that America doesn't want to show.
Yeah, but
that would make people go like, oh, Sari, you're not giving him the content. Like he's getting that from y'all.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
You have to. I think that's part of parenting, defending your kids, even from their own mistakes.
Yeah.
Now they have to face consequences, but I wouldn't want Sari as a mom to come in and be a pile on. Okay, I don't know how we got on parenting on Showman's Watch. Okay, so also just a really quick aside to look out for America with her Showman's eyes because she did tell jokingly like, oh, she's going to say in her goodbye message to Riley, who everyone knew at this point was going to go home, hey, don't worry, I'll take care of Matt for you. Oh my God. Which is like, yes, America, those are the kinds of goodbye messages that we need.
Right.
And okay, that kind of shows that she's looking at Matt.
Right.
And is interested. And I mean, Matt, every time, so I watch not only the live feeds, but also like we go to Reddit and Twitter and Tumblr to like join in the online discussion. I could be watching another cam and I always know when they cut to Matt because immediately there's a flood of comments of like, Matt alert, Matt's on cam 5, Matt's going to the pool. And I'm just like, all right. So like, Matt's a good looking guy, I guess. So that was Showman's Watch. I don't know if we've seen too much anything else. So let's get back to it. We had our live eviction yesterday, and it was the episode actually was little just like, okay, because they played up that maybe it was a flip, but we all knew it wasn't a flip. Right. You could tell when they cut to Riley, she knew she was going home unanimously. Right. She was in her best dress. I actually hope that wasn't her best. Well, anyway, she was dressed, prepared to leave the show. Speaking of dress, what's your quick rating if you had to go out of 10 on Julie's outfit tonight? I thought it looked good.
You thought it was what?
It looks good.
I thought it looked good too. I would probably say a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Because it seemed like maybe there was like I didn't like her shoes. I can't remember, but there was one little thing that I didn't super like. But otherwise, for Julie, it was great, and we love a high pony. She was giving high pony, curly hair, super cute. So I would go 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Go, Julie. You're now Brooke approved. All right. And so, yeah, we just kind of got through it. We talked about all the stuff that happened on the episode in this week, and it came down to the nitty gritty, and there was a unanimous vote, which is boo, boring. Don't do that. It is always against your, like, people, like, it should be rare that you're trying to cover your vote.
Right.
Just to be unanimous with the House.
Right.
Because if all of her Alliance members voted, that's 6. And if they stayed a block, all they needed to do was convince one person.
Right.
From the other side of the house.
Right.
And they don't think like that. They're just like, well, let's try to keep the harmony. Go watch some older seasons of Big Brother.
Y'all already know that the house is split. Y'all been talking about it
Everyone knows the
week.
house is split. Who cares about Hisam? He can't play HOH. Save your girl. That's better for your game, Jack.
Right.
If you convince the 6 in your alliance, hey, we're keeping her, and I know if I work on Izzy all week, we can get her.
Yep.
Even as a hinky vote.
Yep.
And Siri as a backup. As a backup. They could have done it. They didn't want to. Riley goes home. She walks out. And we know they're not doing battle backs this season. At least not with this first one.
Such a bummer.
They might do a jury one because when Riley walked out, Julie immediately told her
everything,
and that that Siri was the mother.
And she got goodbye messages. So she's gone.
Right.
Which justice for Riley. I was rooting for her. We were all rooting for you.
I was in and out on her, but she would have been I think she would have been way better for the game than Cameron's gonna be.
Same.
But that's the game. You got to get out the competitors. Yeah. So she could have won it if she'd stayed, but she didn't.
Right.
So she's gone, and
again, we did not get an HOH, which I'm so sad about.
Normally they show the HOH competitions on the Thursday live eviction.
Yeah.
It did not. And that's just like, come on, CBS. It's like The Bachelor. These reality TV show trends of kind of breaking format. The Bachelor doing less and less. Well, actually, this season they stuck to it. But for a while, they wouldn't show the rose ceremony at the end of the episode. I hated that. And you're just like, what are you doing?
Right. Like, that's what we were looking forward to.
Right. And so to not show at least the start of the HOH or give us some insight into it on a Thursday night episode is just kind of like, okay.
However, they did tell us next week we will start the HOH competition, which is a fan favorite. Tell us what it is, Jared.
Next week we're getting the pressure cooker. I don't care that I'm peeking. Pressure cooker. And no, I'm not talking about a rice cooker. No, I'm not talking about... I can't think of a pressure cooker brand.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Instapot.
No, we're not talking Instapot. We're talking about the, like she said, fan favorite pressure cooker competition from season 6, which we rewatched that episode after the live eviction episode. And for those that don't know or forgotten, and I don't know who that might be.
Or if you don't watch and you're just a fan of Jared and Brooke.
No, even if you don't watch, in 2005, everyone in the world knew what happened with that. No, I'm joking.
Oh my God.
So anyways, they literally just put all the house guests in a glass box, and they have to have their hand on a button, and when they take their hand off the button, they lose. That's the comp. It's literally who wants it more.
But there's like incentives.
There's
incentives.
Taking it off.
There's also punishments.
And you can only leave 3 at a time. So you got the peer pressure of people. Yes, that all happens. But the pureness of what makes it so intense is that it's who wants it more.
Yeah. And that one lasted. The original one is the
14 and a half,
endurance comp of all time. 14 and a half hours.
Right. The typical HOH competition can be finished on a Thursday, like we talked. And immediately either on the show or after the show airs. And they have endurance comps, which they'll show on the feeds, which might take longer, which sometimes can take up to 5 hours. This competition lasted until the breaking of dawn next morning. Like we said, 14 and a half hours.
How could you? I would definitely, it seems very unsafe to not use the bathroom for 14 and a half hours. Do you think they let them have bathroom breaks?
I think just about every day, you don't use the restroom for about 14 and a half hours.
Not this tiny bladder.
At least 8.
Not me.
At least 8. You go to sleep for 8 of those hours.
I wake up every night to pee. in the night.
Well, you're right.
I would just have to pee on myself.
Okay, well.
I would just have to, if it meant winning, I would have to do that.
Well, yeah. Well, some of them do. If we watched the episode, we're definitely complaining about having to go use the restroom and things. Right. And that's why I think the producers do it, because ultimately they do. It will end.
Yeah.
They'll either pass out and let go of the buzzer. It's not infinite. Yeah. So it's a fun comp. I don't know if it's good when there's a clear split in the house and you got two sides who are willing to duke it out. Because spoiler alert, that original one came down to two sides of the house. There was one guy and a girl on the other side, and the girl ended up winning, and the guy let go because he thought he was okay. He ended up going home that week. Yeah. And if he just stayed a little longer, he would have been able to stay on. Right. So we're gonna see the willpower of these house guests. I'm sure production.
Wait, he ended up going home that week?
Yeah, Kayser went home that week, even though Jennifer
after she
promised not to.
Oh my!
And he just didn't have the willpower. She outlasted him. She's actually a teacher in Waco now.
Oh my gosh!
I think she's originally from Carrollton, Texas.
Wow.
Jennifer? Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, so... Yeah, okay, so that's what we have to look forward to, that kind of intensity. We're going to see what the state of the house is. Hopefully they're not in a state of unanimity. Yeah. Hopefully there's some discord, because that's what motivates people to go longer to ensure their and their side's safety.
Yeah, we'll see. But we haven't announced.
Yeah, okay, this is going to be a great week.
Drum roll, please.
So they play the HOH competition, and we didn't get to see it on the feeds, but the feeds turned on. If you don't want to know, you want to wait until Sunday, this is your chance to go to the next segment. You can see the chapters in our episode descriptions, or on, if your podcast has the ability to use chapters, they're there. Anyways, spoiler alert, the feeds turn on, and I see Felicia and Jared in the bathroom jumping up and down. I'm like, there's no way. Someone on their side must have won. And then on the other camera, you've got Sari and Hisam and Izzy and Red, and they're all ecstatic. And I'm like, what is going on? Who won? And then it becomes clear that Felicia won the HOH competition. She has now become the oldest woman to win the HOH competition.
It's amazing.
To be HOH in the Big Brother house. It's like normally they send out, the younger people send out the older competition earlier in the show. But I mean, this is amazing because no one saw this coming. Who knows what this week is going to be like? Right. And also, honestly, Felicia with HOH-itis is probably just going to be must-watch TV, must-watch feeds, Yeah. So this gives Sari and Izzy some game moves. They're looking to backdoor Hisam. Right. We know she loves to talk to the camera, so it might just be fun to turn on the feeds and watch her in the HOH room. Right. Talk about her. Who knows what we're going to get. Right. So, and the other side is scrambling. They're like, oh, who knows what it could be. Hisam, I don't think is aware that he's in trouble yet. Right. He literally, when I was watching him on the feeds last night, after he was already going like, yeah, if we could have a good HOH, like minded, like I just had a perfect week. Oh my Let's just all try to do that again this week.
That is insane. I don't know. Right now they're saying that's the plan, backdoor Hisam, but
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I say that is because it gets so crazy in that house.
I know.
That's what it'll be exciting to see what plays out, and if they stick to that plan or what keeps them from sticking to that plan.
Right.
Oh, good job, Felicia. We know you can't hear our podcast, but when you get out and run to your phone to listen to the People's Rose podcast, know that we are excited about your week 3 HOH win. We are
so excited,
and we are looking forward to see what happens.
Yep.
Okay, so really quick. That was the week so far. We're all caught up, even if you watch live feeds or not. This is basically all that's happened. I don't know what happened through the night. I did have to sleep, so I didn't see all of the feeds. But this is you know what's going on in the house. Outside of the house, Luke, who was expelled last week. Again, hopefully we don't talk about him too much more. Expelled last week for saying a racial slur. The N-word, to be exact, is online, kind of refusing to take accountability for his actions.
It's just insane.
Saying he was hungry, sleep deprived, or manipulated by production. Brooke, don't you hate when you get a little hungry and accidentally say a racial slur?
I mean, like, that is ridiculous. And he was like, I briefly saw, he like went live, and the one part I saw, or I guess I saw a comment, he was just saying like, yeah, I can't believe I got kicked out for a thing as little as that. Like, sir, you are so mistaken for that. Like, I hope you, I don't know what it's going to take for him to realize how wrong he is in that.
Right. Yeah, it does. I don't care, to be honest with you. Like, if that's what, as long as just whatever. He'll move, he'll do it, he'll live his life, and Lord willing, someone will reveal, why that was wrong. But he's not taking accountability. And speaking of reality TV stars not taking accountability and blaming production, is there any other reality TV news before we wrap it up, Brooke? What you got?
You guys.
This is, I guess we'll call it an emergency Brooke's Buzz.
Raquel speaks. Okay.
And I believe it's Rachel Leviss now.
She is now going by Rachel. Rachel speaks.
Rachel from what show?
I have to comment on this because if you've listened to the past episodes, we've been tracking this. I've been asking her to speak. We want to hear your side.
And you got that, Brooke. She heard you, and now she's speaking.
And now she speaks. Rachel Leviss, formerly known as Raquel from Vanderpump Rules, had an affair, big scandal, has been away at rehab for 2 months, and she's back. And she was on a podcast with none other than Bethany Frankel. And if you remember in the last, I said apparently she's going to meet up with an ex-housewife and, quote, take down Bravo. Well, that's exactly what they did, okay? This podcast, I won't really say exactly because they're not really taking down Bravo, but this podcast really was a way for Rachel to tell her side of the story away from everybody else. And also for her and Bethany to really talk about, like, the dark side of reality TV. Okay?
So what does that entail?
So basically, Bethany, even before Rachel came on, Bethany has been on this, she's been on this, track of exploitation without representation. That's how she's been describing reality TV. Like, these people are getting exploited and basically not getting paid enough.
And that's Bethany saying that.
And that's Bethany Frankel. Okay. Now, Bethany is kind of known for not really taking accountability and kind of everybody else being the problem, right? So I'm not surprised to hear that she's saying this about Bravo. Specifically, because they both were on Bravo shows. Bethany was on Real Housewives of New York for many, many seasons. She had her own spinoff where she got married and had a baby. And, basically, they really were, some of the points they made, I would agree with. They're accurate. And we've even said that. Reality TV sometimes feels exploitative, right?
Definitely. I think that's kind of the nature of it. But I'll comment after you fully explain.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and Rachel, she did own up to it, and she did say, "I am sorry. I hurt a lot of people," but then she kind of was like, "But if that gave the show so many good ratings, why didn't I get compensated fairly for it?" And it's kind of just like, dude, what is the price of that?
But also, like, does she hear herself? She's like, oh my gosh, me helping this guy cheat on his long life partner was such a big hit for you guys, and I didn't get any money from it.
Right.
I want to get money from my cheating scandal too. And
right.
It's like, what? You did. First of all, you got paid.
Right. And she literally was like, yeah, I looked up to all these people that I was on the show with, and I wanted to be like them because they made good TV, but all of them have cheated in their relationships too. And it's kind of just like, what? Like, you kind of lost me there.
If she wants to talk about exploitative nature of reality TV, it's kind of weird that she's asking to basically be compensated more for how ridiculous her scandal was.
Right.
Wouldn't that create a scenario where reality TV just becomes people doing more and more ridiculous things
Right.
to get paid more? But then you're like, but that is reality TV.
And then they kind of were saying that because they were like, you just get caught up. Things are moving so fast. You are thinking, okay, what can I do to make a good show? What can I do to get people invested? And even Bethany was like, yeah, like I had my whole wedding on TV and I don't know if I would have done that. But it's like, but you did.
Like, okay. It's like, yes, I do want to be supportive of people who are being manipulated, right? And yes, this is probably a culture in the industry of reality TV of exploitation, right? But I do think we can't just go crazy with it.
Yeah.
No producer, if she said this, I would be like, well, that's alarming. No producer convinced her to enter into an illicit affair with Tom Sandoval.
Yeah.
No one did that, right?
No.
And no one said, oh, keep it up once they found out to get higher ratings.
Right.
Right? The purpose of the Vanderpump Rules is to document her life, and that's all they did. It got crazy, right? Based on her actions, and they marketed that, which is what they do.
Right.
All she's doing is exactly what they did, is trying to spin her bad actions into profitability for the network. Right. And now she's trying to do it for herself. So I don't blame it for that. But it's also like, this, Raquel, you just want more money because you're now more famous for cheating.
Right.
Don't turn it into, oh, they fostered they fostered an environment which made me want to do something crazy. That is not what happened,
right,
Raquel or Rachel. It's just not what happened.
And I don't even know that she would, like, if she heard you say that, she might be like, no, that's not what I'm doing. But it's like, so this world revolves around money. Okay, everyone is trying to make money. Everyone is profiting off of everyone in some way, shape, or form. Like, that's just the truth. Right,
it's the truth. It's not a good thing. I want to be clear. I do not think it's a good thing, but it is the nature of unfortunately how the world works.
Yeah, and so it's like you're trying to tell me Bethany's not making a buck? It may be more than that to have Rachel on her show. No, let me tell you something about Bethany, the businesswoman. She's not doing anything that's not making her money. So are we going to say that Bethany is exploiting her? Or no, because she's like coddling her and being like on her side. Well, like it's just...
That's the hypocrisy of it for me. Now, if she had said... Now, this happens, unfortunately. I know the Venn diagram of people who are going to understand this and understand the Vanderpump Rules scenario and listen to the 50 plus minute of our podcast is zero. It's literally just me. But in the tech YouTube world, there is a scandal going on about poor working conditions on this very large YouTube channel. And women are being sexually harassed, but not just that, unreal expectations are being set on work, which is causing sloppiness in the production, but also just a poor working environment. And so I said all that to say, it can and actually does probably happen where and it could be happening on, I promise you it's happening on reality TV shows, right? And so if she genuinely is now becoming an advocate and standing up for that, yes, I'm actually all for that. I don't want reality TV to become a place where people are exploited for their labor, which is, it's reality TV, but for their labor in a way, this is the people's roles. We're finally getting to no, I'm joking. We're exploited for their labor and not fairly compensated.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
That's just, and encouraged to do things against their better interest. That's not actually, I don't want to watch that, right?
Right.
But if your example for that is this that's happened to you, Rachel, that's not the right example.
Yeah. Right.
Now, she might want to bring up other stuff. And if she said, listen, this has really opened my eyes and I'm fully apologize for what I did, but I do want to talk about other than just like, okay, maybe you're the wrong spokesperson still.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is it. It's like, unfortunately, like, it's not like, unfortunately, you do have to have the right spokesperson, and the person who was getting paid, because Rachel Leviss was getting paid.
Yeah.
She does get paid more than you and I do to do what we do.
Right.
To be on TV. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's just mad it didn't go her way, and now she wants to get paid more.
Right.
That's what happened. That's not the situation she's described. And that's all I think.
And Bethany even said, yeah, well, you got paid less than what I pay my interns. And I'm like, Bethany, what? Tell us numbers. If you're going to put that out there, give us some numbers.
I meant to send this to you, and I wish I had, but I was reading on the Vanderpump Rules Reddit, because whatever. But anyways, that they knew how much Rachel got paid, and it was some huge number.
Sure it was.
And it was. I forget the number, so I don't want to say, but it was something that was like, Bethany's interns make $300,000.
That's insane.
Or something crazy like that.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
I think it was $300,000, because they were like, how is Rachel making $300,000 and couldn't afford to pay her house? Now I get it. There's some people, we do have some rich listeners. There's some people that do make that much money, and yes, you can have struggles. That's not the point.
Right.
But to say that you're getting exploited, okay, yes, that can happen too.
Yeah.
But again, what Rachel is detailing is not that.
Yeah.
Now, it might be if she were to bring forth more information. She hasn't, that I've heard, to the point where I was like, well, you know what? Actually, wow, they were getting.
So I will get into that, because she did say. Well, one thing she said was that a producer told her that what they get paid is based on their performance from the season prior. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to bring it this season so that I can get a raise, right? And so had she re-signed her, that's why she was considering re-signing her contract, because she knew she was going to make more money because of this scandal. But it's kind of like, okay, so you were okay with it, right? But another thing about it was that she kind of broke down things that had been put forth that she claims to be a lie. So she said, like, Ariana and I were not best friends. They created this narrative that we were best friends when we weren't. She was like, I did not hang out with her alone outside of the show, which we kind of all, I feel like as watchers, we know that. Like, we know you guys are coworkers.
Right.
And then she said too that, and also that doesn't make it better. Like, you still had an affair with the girl's 10-year
with your
partner.
Coworker. You had an affair with one of your coworkers. They're both her coworkers.
Right. And then she said that, you know, her and Sheena actually really were close. But Sheena said, like, I let her stay with me when she had nothing. And Raquel was like, she did let me stay with her when James and I broke up and I needed a place to stay. But I also paid rent. Like, she said she didn't pay rent. Sheena said Raquel didn't pay rent, but she did. She really did. And just like little things like that I'm kind of just like, we don't really care. You know? We don't really, that kind of thing, those kind of things are things that we as viewers of reality TV are pretty aware of. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not some bombshell.
Yeah. But she, you know, she also said that another big thing was that that she knew, you know, going into the very last clip, that like 5-minute clip at the end where she, you know, told the truth about Sandoval and like when they had hooked up and stuff like that. She said she knew that was going to be the end of them. Like, she knew he was the only person she had left, and once he saw that, he was going to feel betrayed. And she then went like immediately into rehab, and she didn't confirm or deny like if they were together or not, but it seems to me it seems like they definitely are not, because she realized that she didn't really love him. She was just like on a high of the secrecy and the You know how that all goes.
Right. Which is and this is, if we really want to get down to it, and I think we are going to wrap up here, but here's what it comes down to. She's alleging all these things, but it's not like she went to a producer and said, like, I would like to be paid more, so I'm thinking about, trying to wedge a thing between. No, they kept it a secret because what they were doing was just
morally wrong.
Was just a secret affair. It didn't have anything to do with TV.
Right.
They weren't planning on. Now you could say people subconsciously plan to get caught, but they weren't trying to get caught.
That was another thing I do need to include though.
Go ahead.
So what circulated, like what Ariana found, was a video of her being inappropriate with herself. I'll just put it that way. And Tom had recorded it without her knowing. And so she was upset about that, which I would be too, right? And I mean, wouldn't that be considered, like, isn't that illegal to record without the other person knowing? I guess it depends on what state you live in.
Yeah, there's a lot of laws about that. And there's a lot of laws against the distribution of recorded material like that.
Right. But then her and Bethany were also alluding to the fact that it's unlikely that Ariana just picked up the phone and saw the video. Like, they were kind of making it sound like they thought there was more to the story there. Like, they wanted it to be found out.
Well, I mean, there's always more to the story, but to insinuate anything else than what's the kind of broad strokes facts is that you cheated.
Yeah.
You participated in this man cheating on his life partner.
Right.
It's like kind of just minutia and just technicalities.
Right. Okay,
yeah, she found out earlier and kind of orchestrated how it was found out. That didn't stop what you did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These are all things, little tiny cuts she's trying to make to get more people to her side. And inevitably there will be people on her side. And really, it's reality TV, but like in this situation, it doesn't really matter sides.
Right.
When it comes down to it, you have, whether they're your acquaintance or your best friend, your coworkers, you were in an affair with it. It kind of blew everything up. Some people profited on it. You didn't, and now you're trying to.
Right.
And she's not gonna disappear from society. She'll probably sign her contract. She'll probably be on the show. If not that show, some other show will pick her up. And then she'll shill on Instagram to the people who are like, right, Rachel, you did nothing wrong. We love you, Rachel.
Right.
And things will go on.
Or we forgive you.
Yeah. So unless she says they told me they wouldn't sign anything unless I came up with some crazy storyline.
Right.
And they were like asking for payback because they felt I wasn't, entertaining enough. And unless she can bring some cold hard facts, it's just her PR, her and her PR team trying to find a way to spin it.
Right.
And Bethany trying to drum up podcast listens.
Right.
Maybe we should have her on the show to get some podcast
Hey, I'm down.
Should we just be like, Rachel, this is a platform that will let you speak?
I'm down.
Rachel, okay, don't listen to anything we said prior to this. Rachel Leviss, if your friend sent you a clip of this podcast, feel free to come on the People's Rose. If you aren't Rachel Leviss, feel free to continue to listen to the People's Rose. We try to release an episode. Right now, we're doing twice a week, but bare minimum weekly on the shows that we watch. If you like us, please rate and review us on your favorite podcast platforms, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. And if you want to join us in on the conversation, we're on basically all social media at The People's Rose.
The People's Rose.
It's been awesome talking about Big Brother with you, wife, and getting your opinion on Rachel Leviss. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.